So, Ella, Ella, hello,
I'm Mum.
and I'm me, believe it or not, and that's Bert. He left the scene. This is our actually attempt number 3.
Yeah.
We've been sitting there trying to mess with our microphones and our lighting, and it's very echoey, so the sound is not great, and we even put our little puffball things on our microphones to sound better.
It has a little fur hat.
It looks like you have a carnation on. But in this show, we're going to talk about, we packed Spencer up in the U-Haul, got our Bonvoy card, American Express card out, and took our Trivago and found all of the places along the way to get him to Cornell University in Ithaca, New York. Got his first apartment by himself. He's got a 2-bedroom, 1-bath apartment. Got that all situated, so we'll talk about all those details. But we're going to first start really with talking about you. I want you would share what were you going through as this, because it was really a fever pitch frantic, and I'll tell you, this episode definitely includes some arguing and irritation and stuff like that. Not necessarily with you, but it was kind of all of us. It was just too much happening all at once. So we were all getting on each other's nerves, definitely getting curt with each other, trying to keep it at bay. But I'll tell you, like right before we left, it was all 3 of us were all 3 irritated, all 3 trying to get our stuff done, all not maliciously, just it was at a very high pitch.
Let me just tell you that when they closed the door and they were leaving, I let out a huge sigh of relief. I was so happy they were gone.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what you had to share. Fine. I see how this is going to go. And yes, I'm not dressed terribly well, but this is the reality you're going to see is how we are. You're going to see all of those in our unsplendor. I'm going to the gym with Marcel shortly, so we'll be recording with him as well.
And I shall be sitting here alone again.
Yes, well, when you talk to me like that. So share a little bit about what you were that process from your perspective.
Well, after the huge sigh of relief, suddenly it was very empty in here except for me, and I did have Bert. However, at the weekend, the neighbors, Brad and Sean, took Bert because they were doing all of the walks, morning and evening and daytime. And I was totally alone. I did not like it. I did not like it. That's okay. You were having your own struggles.
Oh my goodness. So and there really wasn't much in here anymore because the last of the bits went to storage.
Yeah. We had 2 chairs, 2 beds.
Well, and that's true because we had your bedroom set and my bedroom set still had not either been sold and or picked up.
Right.
So it's very echoey today because there really is not much in here anymore. I can't believe we actually got all this done. This has been crazy.
Well, it's not so much we, it's more he, because I can do little things like the dishes and the laundry, but...
On that note, I have to give you kudos because you do laundry way better than I do.
I do.
My laundry sucks. Your laundry's great. My clothes are actually soft and nice now. So I'm very grateful for that. So thank you.
I'm just using a decent softener, that's all it is.
Whatever. Anyway, so we ended up going, and I gotta tell you something. There's going to be a picture that I'm going to insert here, but Jennifer at U-Haul, and there was Jennifer, Tina, and Julio, and they were absolutely off the chart fantastic. I've not had that much fun at a U-Haul like ever. Just so you know, if you're in town, they're at 32nd Street, just south of Bell Road, and on the west side of the road. Oh my goodness, it was fun. We were laughing. All of us were laughing our butts off, and my son is like, I could tell by his facial, like, he's like, would you people shut up? We got to go. Because we had intended to leave early because we were trying to get to the U-Haul in New Mexico on time before they closed so we could unload the truck with the stuff there, and we're towing his car. And so he's like frantic trying to get stuff done, which is really a big portion of this show. I want to talk about that part. But we're having fun. If I'm going to go somewhere, if there's somebody I can see, I'm going to have fun. I'm going to go see them because I love people. And that is a fault of mine. Anyway, I'm having great fun with Jennifer. That was the day before we left is when we went to go get it. Then we brought it home. That night we packed it up. The next morning we took everything back to them and had them load, just so we knew it was set correctly. They loaded his car on the dolly, the tow area, and then we headed our merry way. And then we went over to, and at this point,
I don't think it was very merry.
Well, it wasn't actually anything other than it was just tense. You know, that, because we just had, it's these last 2.5 months, everything is always too much happening all at the same time. Would you agree?
Yeah.
And so we get there, we get in the car, we get on our way, we get there well after it's closed. There's no way so we get our hotel. Trivago, when we do this, if we're gonna stay at a hotel, I will tell you, Trivago they're not getting a plug. They're not paying me for this. I've been using Trivago for years. They're giving you the best rates because it's literally the leftover stuff. And I have a Marriott membership through American Express, which is, I don't know if you guys know this, but I worked for American Express for 20 years. Absolutely love it. I have my platinum card, my blue card, my Bonvoy card. And that's really all I use. I'm not as fond of Visa MasterCard. I don't know that I should say that on video, but oh well. I'm a very big proponent for American Express, which we're gonna do a recording with Brad later. But you'll see why. That's the neighbor that took the dog.
And we don't shop. If they don't take American Express, we go someplace else.
We really do. And that's the thing. To me, I was talking to a coworker friend of mine yesterday. The thing about me, I love people, but loyalty and honor, that is like a really big deal to me. And
that's the way I trained him.
American Express did a lot for me in my life, genuinely. You know,
it did.
The people that I worked with were fantastic. The training they afforded me, huge opportunity. And I tell people all the time, if you can work there, go for it. It's a great company. But even just the way they do credit cards, I pay my bills every month. It doesn't build up on me. They're not out to rape me, which I love. I like the fact that they're honorable with how they do business. Anyway, moving along. So we're getting our hotel. We get into there. We crash. We're exhausted. We get up early the next day. We go and get the thing unloaded into the U-Haul in New Mexico, where he's going to live long term. So he's just leaving most of his stuff there while he heads on to Ithaca. So at that point, we are just on overload. Everything's tense. We're trying to get stuff done. And there's a point where we're unloading where Spencer is getting more sharp with me than I expect from my son, who I raised and paid his whole life. And
I'm glad I wasn't there.
So at some point, I just had enough. And I told him in zero uncertain terms that he will treat me better than that, or I will get my ass on a plane and go home. He can do this entire thing by himself. And now with that, I want to give the precursor. Spencer is a great kid. What I noticed, I made him drive right after we got unloaded, and he didn't think I was going to get all this stuff in that storage unit. I am a master Tetris player. I'm really good at Tetris, and I got it all in there, and there was room to spare. And he's like, wow. Anyway, so we ended up getting on our way, and I'm sitting there thinking about what just took place. And I'm thinking about every time he went to his mom, growing up, because I was a single dad. He lived with me. I had full custodial. He lived with me full time. And every time he went to his mom, when he went to his mom, he got colitis. He got a tummy ache. He didn't want to go. And then when he came back, he was just different. Like he
really was.
And it was every single time. Initially, he begged me not to go, and I'm like, "You need your mom, and she needs you. You're gonna go." Anyway, so we ended up, that kind of dissipated over time, and we figured it all out. We all got along most of the time until recently. We got along very well, and we figured out how to be a family. And she would come for Thanksgiving and stuff like that, for holidays and birthdays and all these things. Anyway, but I remembered while I'm sitting there that every time he went away and he came back, we had to decompress. We had to go through kind of a detox window. Yeah. And every time this is the reason I wanted to share this, is that process of hanging in there with each other. And every time we went on one of these road trips, every summer, my son and I, father and son road trips, we would do 8,000 to 9,000 miles traveling across all 50 states, all of Canada. We've been through Europe. Spencer and I have gone a lot of places together.
And guess where I was? Sitting at home on my own.
So,
am I complaining?
Yes.
I'm whining. I'm sorry.
I was going to get you some cheese for that line.
Okay.
Anyway, but what happened is every single one of these trips, when we would turn off the technology, get rid of the phones, turn off the television, all of that stuff, we'd go through that first couple days of detox. And then it would open up the floodgates of talking, and he'd tell me all the things going on in his life. And it really built a passion for me around road trips, because there's not a lot of places where you're isolated and you have to talk to each other. And this is it. This was a big one for us, and we had fun. It was an adventure. And I'll tell you, as we started this process with Spencer, you look at the map. Facebook has a map. When you're checking in, it leaves a spot on the map. And if you look at our map, there's literally thousands of check-ins across the globe. And it's neat to look at, when you see the check-in, there'll be, let's say there's a number 500. That means there's 500 photos in that spot. So when you drill into it, when you go closer and closer, it starts showing you the one area. The one big dot becomes 15 dots, which becomes 50 dots, which has on the numbers 5 photos here, 10 photos there, 3 photos here. And so it's a full chronological journal of a digital journal. I got to tell you, that's probably my favorite thing about Facebook, because I really don't scroll much.
So can you have one of those dots that's strictly just yours and not clumped in with everybody else's?
Those are just me, yeah. Those are my check-ins. Okay. So thank you for asking that. Yeah, those are my check-ins, my photos that I took in that spot.
I didn't know that.
But what happens is, because I tagged it, if I made it public, then other people can see what my son did, or and I, and whatever, now you. So it really is neat. If you're trying to remember the place you went to in New York City, you go to that part of the map, you zoom into it, and then as you get closer, you'll find it, and then you can find the photo. It's really easy to find photos if you're using that check-in. So that is why I use Facebook, period. It's a digital journal for me. Anyway, but that process of detox would bring Spencer and I back to being us. Well, I forgot about that, and it's been a couple years since we did a road trip.
Yeah.
So when we started this trip, the last road trip we did, real road trip, we didn't do a road trip. We went to Dominican Republic and stayed at the Hard Rock there, which was a great trip. But I forgot about how important that detox time is, which we were talking about conflict last time, which is that that process. You know, you've got a detox of figuring out how does this mesh together. So we had a lot of fun after we got through that. And then I saw my kid, the kid that I love hanging out with. That little sucker every single night. So I admit, I'm a little OCD, which is where I'm going.
A little?
I
Drives
sleep
me nuts.
facing the bed. I sleep on the right side. I sit in the bed, I'm on the left side. But I always have my table right here. That's just the side I get into the bed. And I don't like sleeping on the other side of the bed. So I don't sleep. I've never slept over there. I just don't. Anyway, so we've got double beds everywhere. So I'm looking at where the table is. So sometimes I'm near the window. Sometimes I'm near the aisle. But I want the bedside next to me because I'm selfish. So my son is like, "Dad, you're OCD. There's something there's something wrong with you." I don't know why, but people tell me that all the time.
It's because you're nuts.
So we sit there and we get this is the sucker part of Spencer. So he like, I used to torment him as a little boy, and I'd pin him down and I'd tickle him and I'd zerbert his belly, and
he's getting his own back.
Yeah,
I love it.
and he drags me out of bed, and because I refuse to get out of that because he wants to sleep on that one, and he's just messing with me. He doesn't really want to sleep on that one. He's just messing with me. But he's dragging me out of bed and tickling me, and I hate being tickled. And he's not ticklish, but I am. That's why I made him not ticklish, because I don't like it. And I'm laughing, and all he has to do is look at me now, and I know what's about to happen, and then I start laughing. I can't control it. And he messes with me nonstop. So we got to that window of time, and we had so much fun. But this is, as I go through the trip, we get to New York. The house is actually really neat. It's right next to a big waterfall, and it's on Cornell's campus, which is, oh my goodness. I'm going to be playing some videos.
Absolutely spectacular.
It's off. So it's built 100 years before I was born. So it's 18.
About the time I was born then.
Yes, 1865, her birth year. But it is absolutely stunning, and the degree of green is like nothing I've ever seen before.
You should go to Ireland.
And the hydrangeas, a flower is bigger than any hydrangea. I mean, they're enormous, and then they don't stop growing. They, instead of being a big ball, they grow into these big pyramids of hydrangea. And the hibiscus are bigger than the head. They're huge. I'm like, what the heck is that? I'm like, that's a hibiscus. Wow. So it's just beautiful, and the trees are enormous. And we're walking around taking pictures and getting his student ID, which is such a big deal. And so we go back and we're getting his house ready. And his house is really kind of quaint. You'll see some photos here. But what I'm noticing is I'm watching my son being extremely particular and OCD over how he expects his house to look.
I wonder where the heck he got that from.
And he definitely got it from me. Which, on one side, I'm actually kind of excited to see that he's going to take care of his stuff. But there's also a degree of tense that he's living with, trying to get everything situated, and he's got the sense of urgency because I'm leaving. I got a buddy pass home. Thank you, Sandy. Enormous blessing. But I've got to get stuff done. So we pulled an all-nighter, and our version of clean and their version of clean were definitely very different animals.
Yep.
So we're skeeving a little bit. On the whole, it was not clean, and it didn't smell good, which bothered both of us. But I'm watching Spencer, and I'm watching how uncomfortable he is, wanting it to be right, that it took the joy out. That's what I'm noticing. That's where I'm heading. And I am that person. Like, I stress over making sure that everybody's taken care of, and that everybody's got what they need, and that everything is the way it should be. So, and that really came out of my marriage. Because if it was a yes, it was wrong. If it was a no, it was wrong. No matter what was going on, it was wrong. So you start creating this environment where you're doing everything you can to try to not be wrong. That's where mine came from. But I'm amazed at how much Spencer adopted that, and I'm not thrilled. I love the fact that he takes care of his stuff, and he's particular. It is what got him where he's at. So we're putting his guest bedroom together, and through the course of a discussion, I am talking about him being at Cornell, and he's like, "Dad, this was 1,000 to 1, and I don't really belong here. Like this is bigger than me." And I'm like, "Spencer, when he went to Crest, he thought it was too big for him. It was above him. When he went to Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in Prescott, he thought it was above him, that it was too good for him. In Cornell, he's the same thing. With where he's working, same thing. He is genuinely humble, but his company is paying a salary while he's in college full time, paying for his college at a college that is a 6-figure per year bill. And I'm like, his company sought him out for him to work there. They allowed him to pick the project he wanted to be on, interview the different teams. And I'm like, that doesn't happen if you're not exceptional. And the thing I was trying to get him to understand is everybody else around him sees it. And I don't want him to not be humble, but at some point you got to enjoy that you're good at stuff. It's okay to be good at stuff, and you're not being pompous by doing that. And the reason I'm talking about this whole thing, and I know it's all long-winded and I'm sorry, but the reason I'm building all this together is it is, especially as we go into the RV, things aren't always going to be perfect. And we have to enjoy the journey.
I shall be able to have my little piles.
No.
No?
Not in an RV, you can't. But that's the thing is, we were talking about business last time, and we're using different vernacular than the travel part of it. But it all is, how do we fit all of our life, all of our stuff, all of our journeys into this little tin can that's going to travel around the country with us? That's what we're trying to do, and that's why we're talking about relationships. It's not...
You should show them what's lined up against the wall to go into the little tin can.
I will.
And at least that much has already gone.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot.
It's pretty amazing.
I've got 4 boxes in there. I've got 8 boxes over there. I've got a stack of stuff along that wall. There's a big table that's got to go undercarriage. We both got our hanging clothes still.
Yeah, in my room, all that's left are the hanging clothes.
Yeah.
I put everything in your stack.
And well, but in this process, what I realize is I'm trying to make everything just right when we leave, which is me.
It ain't gonna happen,
And I all of a sudden, but it's just, there's a sheer reality of how many minutes in a day. So what I'm now doing is, let's get the stuff in there, we'll go somewhere, we'll stop in a cooler environment, and then we'll break stuff down and get it together. So if you're going on a trip like this, don't stress about it being perfect before you leave. When you get settled, when you stop, then you're going to start looking through stuff that maybe you brought with you that you don't need. And then you're like, okay, well, let's give this away because I don't need it. I'll give it to it.
I actually threw away a pair of shoes this morning.
Did you now?
I did.
Well, and we will show you how we put stuff away in the coach as well. But you're not just organizing and putting away stuff. You're also organizing and putting away stuff in your brain. And it's just a different lifestyle. And so the biggest part of the first part of this journey is the detox. Like, how do you detach from the busy life and start actually slowing down? Do you remember when she's from England, obviously. When we go back home to England, and England is a different pace.
It is. Yeah.
And you live that pace. What do you think about the slowness of it?
I think it's probably an easier way to live.
It's gentler and kinder.
Yeah. You come over here and you're thrown into a pretty intense lifestyle if you're working. So, yeah.
That's
Over
the
there,
thing.
it's easier.
When I come back here from being there, I actually almost get panicky. Which the first time it happened, I was like, ooh, everybody's in a rush. Everybody's so anxious to go somewhere and do this thing and fit all
Which
these
is
things.
a crazy way to live, guys.
It's
You
sad.
shouldn't be doing that.
Well, sometimes it's a point of necessity. And there are windows where it's just busy. Like this window, we had a lot of stuff to get done in a short window. But that shouldn't be 24/7, 365. And if it is, then something needs to change.
Yeah.
And that might be the FOMO, fear of missing out. People are trying to cram stuff in, and it's okay to go back and circle back and do it later. But this is, so watching Spencer and recognizing he's adopted what I consider the worst part of me made me a little sad. But then it also made me appreciate all the more why this journey is so important.
And he's in a pretty intense situation anyway, because he's doing 2 years in 1 year.
And it's 2 disciplines of study in 1 year.
Yeah.
For his master's.
He'll get it.
He will.
He'll be fine.
So, the whole point of this video is,
We'll go and shake up his world in October for his birthday.
yeah,
We'll chill him out a little bit.
Yeah, we'll have fun. But don't expect things to be perfect, and don't worry if they're not perfect. It's just not a necessary evil. And allow yourself space in your day, every day, to detox. You know, you need some time alone with God. And I'm saying that not to preach. I can only share what from my perspective, and I'm a Christian, and so you're going to hear that sometimes. But you need time alone with God every day. You build a relationship off of communication and talking. But same thing with the people you love. You need time with them every day. Sit down for dinner together. Turn off your TV. Turn off your phones.
That's always been a big one. I always insisted everybody at the table for a meal. It was critical in the way that I raised my kids. It's good.
Yeah. So, and that's the other thing, you know, Pastor Don always said you need a vacation every year, just you guys as a couple, and a separate vacation every year with you as a family. And those things are the spaces where you detox and rediscover who you are. So I'm really, now that we're at this stage and things are settling down and like her bedroom's empty, my bedroom's empty, the stuff that was around us, most of it's just going. We still got to get rid of these 2
Just all
chairs.
moved into another room.
No, our bedrooms are empty, other
Yep.
than a temporary bed, a blow-up bed. But there's just not much. There's got 4 items we've got to get rid of, and we're done.
Yep.
So, I can't believe we're here.
I broke our coffee pot.
Yes. But that's okay. And then I bought a coffee pot that isn't the coffee pot I wanted, so now I need to take it back. So I added another thing to my list to do. So, the next time we videotape, we will actually be on the road.
We will. We'll actually begin our travel
Tomorrow.
tomorrow, yeah, around about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm thinking.
4.
4?
Yeah.
Oh, well. Got to go see our chiropractor first.
He's actually our last visit. We're dropping by the RV place for them to work out, which is Bell Road RV, which it's Cave Creek basically in Bell Road, but they're fantastic. Love the guys. They're going to fix a couple things for me really quick, and then we're going over to Yellow Spruce where we get our coffee, and they're opening a wine bar, and I have been their first dollar spent with their coffee shop, the roaster side of it, and now their wine bar. So they're launching, so I'm like, I have to be their first dollar. So we're going to go do that, and then we're going to go to Dr. Chris at Arizona Chiropractic Center over on 75th Avenue and Deer Valley Road-ish.
He's the one that stole my bed yesterday. And all my furniture.
Yeah, he bought her bedroom set. Well, technically his wife bought it.
Yeah.
And then he picked it up.
Yeah.
He was the Manuel Labor.
She was so excited she finally had furniture in her guest room.
Well, that's because she has like a herd of children.
Yeah.
And she no longer got a herd of children.
I said to him, are there any short people in your family? He said, no. I said, well, I've got a little step that I use to get into bed. He says, I'll take it. My dad's coming next month, and maybe he might need it. So,
Oh, that's good.
yeah,
I did not know that part.
yeah.
And I didn't get to see them because I was running errands all over the valley, trying to get all my bits done.
Hi, Bert. Come
So,
up.
anyway, are you excited? This is it.
I'm getting there. I would like to go see my girls at the store, get
Right
some
now.
pictures. Come on, Bert.
Yeah, the girls at the stir have become family to us.
Yep.
So she's going to go down there and take some pictures with them. I've got to leave and go do a couple more things. And
Return your coffee pot.
Yeah, and go to my trainer and drop off the pictures to Chrissy Borg.
And then we're having dinner with some friends. Last time we'll see them until whenever.
At Cook and Craft,
Yep.
across the street on High Street.
Yep.
And then we got to come back and finish the last bits going into the coach when it's cooler at night. Then
And
start
the-
cleaning and a couple
The
touch-up
taping
spots.
of Brad,
Yes.
who has great stories to tell about American Express.
Yeah, I am you will hear me over the years. I am a huge supporter of American Express. I love you should be using American Express in my opinion. I've been a member since 1990. And I just love what they do. And go and advocate for your customer, advocate for your staff. Go find a way to make their world better. And we don't do that anymore, but American Express does. And you know, the Platinum card, oh my gosh, our customers are loyal for a reason because we are relentless with finding answers, finding solutions. And that is kind of, American Express did a lot in shaping me as a leader to be that guy that just always looks for a win-win solution that's good for the company, it's good for the shareholder, it's good for the customer, it's good for the employee. I'm looking for how do I satisfy it all? And there's usually a way. So that's fun. And that's why stuff grows. If you do that, it grows, period. Water and fertilize it.
I'm going to say goodbye, folks.
No, she's not till we're done. I'm not. Yeah, because we're not allowed to do that. So, one last thing I want to ask you. In this first week, is there any particular thing you're looking specifically to have done or do in the next week?
I just want to get on the road.
Okay.
We're going to do that.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. Well, that's boring. You need next show. You need to come up with a better what you want the following week.
Oh.
I'm going to probably ask you that at the end of each week. Well, seriously, you need to be thinking. That's the big joy
I
of
do
this.
think, yeah, I really do. Every once in a while, I have a thought. Every once in a while, I have a good idea.
I'm kidding. Okay. So I'll see you in a minute.
Okay.
And we'll see you in next week.
Have a great weekend.
Bye.